I'd like to talk to you today about data-driven DevOps. Because I don't know everything about everything, I'm going to focus on one area that I do know a little bit about, which is mining machine data for DevOps. I'm Andy Mann, I'm at Andy Mann, I work at Splunk. I want to give a shout out to John Willis and Damon Edwards for starting to put some prescription around DevOps and coming up with CAMs. Culture, automation, measurement, sharing. These are really core principles. So I'll drill in a little bit to measurement. Question is though, what should you actually measure? We heard Gene talking earlier today about this 10 deploys a day, a seminal presentation from Velocity 2009, John Osborne. Is that what you should measure? Should you be measuring activity? You know, if we're a bit like Milton, we'll talk about, oh, we're working hard, but is that really just worrying too much about your swing line? Alternatively, some middle managers, people like Lundberg, are much more interested in what you're achieving, what are your outcomes. Because if you're not achieving the sorts of things your middle managers and your executives expect, yeah, they're going to want you to come in on Sunday. And as we just heard, you don't want to do that. So Gartner outlines some DevOps metrics that matter. And they talk a little bit about operational efficiency, and then they move up the chain to customer value, to business performance. So things like user enablement, things like revenue. IDC have some metrics that matter. I like this because it includes things like employee productivity, employee satisfaction, ability to build your training and skill sets, as well as things like revenue and profitability and speed. Here are some DevOps metrics I think might matter. I think culture is important, retention, satisfaction, call-outs. Impact is important. Customer sign-ups, revenues, check-ins, check-outs. Sometimes activity is important too. But the real question is, what are your metrics that matter? Every DevOps journey is unique. And I can't tell you the metrics you need to measure, but I can maybe give you some ideas about how to measure them. One thing I do know is that machine data is a constant in your environment. You can get information and objective measurements from every tool, every process, every component, whether it's your stuff on premise, in the cloud, in APIs. That can give you visibility across your entire development lifecycle. So from planning to release, from idea to customer, you can get from all of your tools, including things like Docker, I said it, all your other development tools as well, but also the ops environment. Even things like ZOS, mainframe. We heard earlier today about large enterprises. All of this, machines, systems, processes are generating measurable data. You can use that type of machine data to really understand waste. We talked yesterday a little bit about value stream mapping, and being able to find objective metrics throughout your value stream lets you identify and hopefully remove waste. You can use machine data to understand quality, understand how are your tests progressing, what is your test coverage, what tests are passing and failing, what applications are better or worse, and release when you've got good code rather than out of date. You can use machine data to enable continuous improvement, feeding information from production back into configuration, into test, into stage. You can feed problems back into requirements. All of this information is available as data from machine systems. All of this lets you generate velocity, those continuous feedback loops, take waste out of the system, drive auditable information to those people who care about compliance while automating a process that delivers into production. Taking quality information, for example, and automating pass-fail, automating those change approval processes, understanding that you can build up a library of known good process. And also think about using machine data to align with business impact. Not just Dev and Ops data, but think about web store performance, think about revenue performance, think about customer satisfaction. These are all metrics you can actually get from your machines to drive these better feedback loops and ultimately to improve that application velocity, the quality, and the impact that you're having with code on business outcomes. My name's Andy Mann. I'm at Andy Mann on Twitter. I work for Splunk. We make machine data accessible, usable, and valuable to everyone. Thank you very much.